Okay, we're back with the Monte Carlo SS. Today we have quite a few things to do. We're going to take out the cooling system, take out the radiator, the shroud, the whole front pulley system so we can gain access to the front timing gear. Okay, so we're going to remove the entire front pulley system to gain access to the front timing cover. So we got our new gaskets and seals for the timing cover so we can access our timing gear and chain. This is kind of like a timing belt, on a car. You would think of, these chains can break and lose timing, and it'll cause the valves to open at the wrong time or to remain open when the piston comes up and the piston hits the valve and blows up your engine.
Ow.
So pretty critical piece. It's kind of a maintenance item. So to access that while the oil pan is off is a little easier, so we're gonna go ahead and do that at the advice of the old father-in-law of Andrew here. Shout out to the father-in-law.
Yeah, there you go.
So some old man knowledge, and that's what we're doing today.
So, all right, as you can see, the fan shroud's out of the way, and now the fan is coming out. The fan clutch. That was hooked up right there. All right, that's our water pump right there. It spins off that. And I'll let Jake explain to you what's going on here.
So this is a viscous clutch for the fan. It bolts, the back of this bolts to the fan. So this has fluid in here that as it heats up, it locks up the fan. You can see there's resistance in here. And as you're spinning and it's a low RPM, it'll say, but as you put torque to it and it starts to heat up, it starts to get easier because you don't need as much resistance from the fan once you're going down the road. So once you get going down the road and the thing's spinning good, there's just an airflow coming in, and once it cools down and it starts spinning at the same speed, that fluid in there cools down and it kind of locks up and it'll spin the fan. So you see now there's a little more resistance to it, and you get going again and it goes away. So that's a viscous clutch.
All right, now if you want to know a fun fact, there's no way Jake, I mean, he looks like a big strong man, but there's no way he should be able to heat that thing up and spin it freely like that.
Just by hand. This clutch is no good. The viscous part of this is not working properly. It should take way more resistance than what I'm able to do with my hand. Should not be able to break that viscous coupling in there and to make it free spin like this so easily. So what we're going to do, we're going to get rid of this clutch completely, and this is called a fixed blade fan. So these blades are fixed, at a certain pitch to bring in a certain amount of air, and they make what's called a flex fan, and they're made out of plastic. So it has a pitch like this when at low RPM, and as you get up in RPM, they flex and they straighten out a little bit to reduce some of the resistant drag from the fan on the engine, and also reduce the airflow, but it's not needed. Just the same thing this clutch does. It doesn't actually spin the fan very fast at all once it's going in higher RPM, and the flex fans, they do the same thing, and there's less chance of having this issue and having overheating at idle and things like that, because it'll come back to this high profile pitch and it'll bring a lot of air in.
Yep, makes a really good point. It's all about aerodynamics. These 80s cars were notorious for overheating. I mean, take a look at this radiator. It's a little baby thing, so yeah, we're definitely gonna try to help. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of sneak in here. What Jake is doing is we have a little petcock on the radiator here, a little opening that gets the fluid to come out. I was gonna say to not make a mess, but it's making a little mess. Anyways, that helps us to drain the radiator without taking the lower radiator hose off and making a really big mess. This obviously makes it really fast, but it creates a big mess, and we don't want to do that. We're not at a shop. And I just got leaked on. So if you're wondering what Jake's doing, he's not posting on his Instagram or anything like that. This is actually for the project. We're about to take all this apart, and we might not come back to this today. My memory may be good, but it ain't that good. And so he's gonna take pictures. He's just kind of documenting how this thing looks, how it's put together correctly, and so that we can have a reference point at a later time when we come back to start putting this thing together. Because I mean, we've dove pretty far down in here, and we don't want to get back here and be like, this is the maze that we get stuck in right here, this belt maze, and trying to figure it out. So a very good idea to do is take pictures and just have a good reference point when you're going back together in case you can't remember, because YouTube may have a lot of answers but it doesn't have all of them. So a quick point that was brought to my attention: most vehicles have a belt routing diagram, and it's usually right here on the cowl of your hood, under your hood, excuse me. And well, if you can see what I'm seeing, it's not there. It's gone. It's I mean, it's an 80s car. It probably flaked away. So we'll go from there. Here, take a look. Take a look at that coolant. I mean, it's kind of green, but that's all right. So Jake's got the water pump off. He's gonna kind of yank this thing off right now, and there you go. It's not your traditional water pump where it sits like directly in there or anything. It's an older style, but check it out. Here it is. A little rusty. It's probably still doing its job just fine, but you know, we want to maybe not upgrade, but definitely get a better one. Get a newer one. So look where we are. I mean, you saw from the morning there was a lot more stuff right here. Radiator's gone. This is the condenser for your AC. Fan shroud, the fan, the clutch, alternator. A lot of things like that are moved out of the way right now. This right here, this cover, if you can point at it for me, Jake, that's our timing cover. That's what we're gonna dive into, that gear and sprocket. I think I showed you guys earlier, or I might not have, but that's gonna be what we used to time. Okay. All right, ready? Oh, like a glove. No struggles at all.
You ran out, huh?
All right, so what we're doing right now is we're struggling fighting turning the engine over as we're trying to loosen these bolts. So a little power tool really goes a long way. Also, we don't want to break nothing trying to yank something or bust some knuckles. So this is our big bolt right here. We're probably going to replace this just for safe measures, because we were kind of cranking on it earlier when we were turning the engine over. So it's always good, like I said, to have the right tools. You're not going to hurt yourself. You're going to do the job right. This one's probably a little overkill, but you know, this is back in the day when I was a mechanic. So we got 4 more bolts to go. We're gonna grab those. I think those are 15s, because yeah, they're definitely 15. So we'll get those off, then we're gonna yank it off. Probably gonna need a pulley, a little puller. Let me show you that real quick. This is gonna go around it, grab it. It's gonna go right in the middle where that bolt was. We're gonna kind of wrench this down. What that's gonna do is just slowly but surely pull that off, because it's like almost like a press fit. That's what you want. So hang out, take a look. We're really far into it. I mean, look at the engine. You can see the block now, which is really nice. So right here, I was talking about this right here. I had a brain fart and my friend was laughing at me. I forgot what this was, but this has to do with our timing. We have a timing light. So yeah, this also right here, he was kind of checking it out. He made a good point. There's nothing really gummed up in here, which is really good. That tells us that the coolant that was in here or was being used when it ran, we don't have any kind of blockage, which is really nice. It's really good. Again, another sign that this engine, we're happy with where it is, and it's giving us some confidence and longevity. As we take this apart, I'm gonna hit this with some degreaser, kind of clean it up and maybe dress it up. If we have some black spray paint, maybe we'll do that, but that's not really our biggest concern.
Okay, so we're getting our puller situated here on the vibration dampener. It's a little keyed press fit, so you have to use a puller to remove it. Once we get that off, we'll be able to get to the timing chain cover and remove that. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, we're gonna go slow, because I kind of got not too much grip back there, and I got some tension on there now. Is it moving at all? I feel like it's moving. I think it's moving, Jake. So I want this bishop. Okay, Jake, why don't you hold on? Actually, let's do this. All right, Jake. Sometimes when you're right, I'm not happy about you being right, but I know you're right. So, what was pointed out by my friend over here, who's my friend, we're gonna run out of thread as we pull this this vibration dampener off. and which is not going to be pretty. Also, he pointed out that the rubber over here is already cracking and messed up. So this is no good anymore. So what did you just say?
We're either gonna get it off or we're gonna break it. Either way, it's coming off.
There you go. On that note, stand by. We're gonna get it off. All right, so this is the outside of our vibration dampener, and all that was kind of holding us in place is this like rubber seal that has no life left to it. Look at the back; it's already cracking, ripping, tearing. So none of this was as reliable as we liked. So now I'm gonna dive down into here. We got our socket, we have our pulley, and it seems like we are hopefully making some headway on actually getting the part that's pressed on off. Everything doesn't go according to plan always. You gotta just adapt and overcome. This is kind of what we got going on. I'm trying to get my best to get in here. There we go. You see what's going on. So as soon as we can get this pulled off, kind of the problem we're running into now is we're turning the engine over as we turn to get this vibration dampener off. Oh, here comes another tool to add some force to prevent this from turning over. So think about it, this is the crankshaft. So as he turns that, he's directly in line with the crankshaft, which turns your pistons, right? So now he's got to apply force the other way to prevent the engine from turning over. So as you can, I don't know if you can kind of see, let me put this thing, it's starting to, I can zoom in a little here. You can see.
We're getting support here, which is really good. Really, really. We're not too concerned about its safety or anything like that because we're going to be replacing it. So, yeah, keep that up, man. Look at get in there. Yep, look at that. Yep, there it goes. Almost there. Let's go. Oh, I'm using a little cool fast 40 trick here. Oh, yeah, look at that. Oh, I think you got it, my friend.
All right. Will you hand me that right there? Or you can talk about it. Go ahead, you're good.
Okay, so this is the inner part of the vibration dampener, and you can see here is keyed, so it can't move from the crankshaft down here. Here's a key. This little square part is called the key, and that's what locks this in place, so it cannot rotate when it's not supposed to. So this big hunk of metal and rubber here, it just kind of dampens the vibration of the engine. If you think of like a bicycle wheel that's turning, it helps to maintain balance. This heavy weight helps to maintain the overall balance of the engine, and the rubber takes up some of the vibrations and stuff and absorbs it, so it doesn't transfer throughout the engine and cause excessive wear and tear on bearings and things like that. So it's kind of a good idea to replace them. They don't usually like go out, but in this case you can see where the rubber was already chunking apart. It's super dry.
That wasn't because of us.
Yeah, it's just old, no good. So unfortunate that it broke on us, but probably a good thing in the long run.
That's what it is to have proper tools here.
NASCAR, baby.
Okay, so moment of truth. I'm gonna pop this front timing cover off, hopefully,
Maybe.
and see if we have a double roller, single roller, what our timing chain looks like, all that fun stuff.
Ooh.
Whoa,
Oh man. Oh, there we go. There it is.
That.
Okay, so the way you kind of check the chain if it's stretched is how much. Ooh, look at that right there. That is real bad. Really bad. It should be more like this side right here. See how that's not too much? That, terrible. That means your timing is going to be off.
And it probably was off.
Yep. So this is about how much tension should be there. That is no bueno.
So I again thank my father-in-law for, reminding me to remind somebody to do this. It's definitely in the long run is going to be one of the best things we did. So, all right, fun, fun, fun. All right, so what Jake's got going on right here, let me zoom in while I can, is we're trying to line up these dots on the timing gears over here. So, are they lined up?
No.
No. So what he's doing is turning the engine over. What we did to make this easier for us is we took the spark plugs out so we don't have compression.
Too far.
So we just went a little too far there. And once you get those dots lined up, that's telling our cam and our crank that everything's lined up correctly, and which all we have to do now is take these stock parts off and put our new timing equipment on. Okay, so we got the timing stuff lined up. We got the bolts off, and we're coming off with the gear. All right, there she is. Oh, man, that is no bueno. So fun fact my father-in-law taught me, let's check this out. Oh, this is a baby. This right here, these gear teeth are nylon. That is some weak stuff. So apparently GM back in the day was trying to save weight any which way they possibly could, and that's how they did it. These teeth right here are nylon teeth. They're not steel. So shame, for shame. So here's a new one. All right, I got billet steel here, and we gotta get that gear at the bottom off. Okay, everyone, we're at an impasse. We're between a rock and a hard place, and well, I'm kind of upset, so I'm gonna let Jake explain what just happened.
Well, the top gear up here they gave us was wrong. So instead of, you know, it being perfectly centered, it was essentially off like this. It wouldn't line up with any of the bolt holes or the dowel, so it's totally unusable for us. So for now, we're gonna have to leave it apart until we can get the correct parts in.
So that's the end of our video. We will be back in a couple weeks to do the rest. So we did make a lot of headway today, if you can't tell. It seems like we took a lot more apart than put back together, but that's kind of what this is all about. And you know, these project cars don't always go the right way the first time. You make your trips back and forth to the auto parts store, and you know, kind of roll with the punches, right?
That's all you can do. Project car stuff.
Yep.